Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, picture this for a second. You've got these incredible windmills, just iconic, right? And endless fields of tulips, plus those canals winding through these really charming old towns. We're focusing on the Netherlands today. It's a country that just offers so much. And this deep dive, we're digging into a really comprehensive travel guide to pull out the absolute must-knows, the key insights to get you ready for an adventure there.
That's exactly it. Our goal here for you listening is to sort of boil down all the essential info from this guide. Think of it as a shortcut, really, to being properly clued up about visiting the Netherlands. And the guide does a great job balancing, the top tourist spots with those really practical, actionable booking tips you need. What's really striking, I think, is how such a compact country manages this amazing blend of old world charm and super modern innovation and getting around. It's all incredibly accessible thanks to that famously efficient Dutch transport system.
Right. How does such a relatively small place pack in so much variety? That's what we're going to explore. We'll cover everything from world-class art to really unique cultural stuff, and even how to handle the travel planning side without, hopefully, too much stress. Okay, let's unpack this. So when you look at the Netherlands, the guide, it really emphasizes this surprising breadth of things to see and do. It's not just pretty scenery, is it? It's this whole mix of, deep cultural history, lovely cities, UNESCO sites, beautiful countryside, and of course the whole cycling and canals thing, very Dutch. It definitely punches above its weight.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is how the guide presents that mix of old and new. It's everywhere, not just in preserved old towns. You see it in cutting edge design, clever solutions, that kind of thing. And the great part is it makes it really easy for travelers to actually experience all of it, whether it's art or just, hopping on a bike.
And the starting point for many people, naturally, is Amsterdam. The capital. It's famous worldwide, isn't it? The canals, the art, that vibrant feel. The guide really stresses that it's more than just sightseeing. Visiting the Rijksmuseum isn't just about looking at paintings. It gives you this real insight into Dutch identity, centuries of art, and that practical ingenuity they have, even in aesthetics. Or the Anne Frank House, such a powerful, moving historical experience. And for art buffs, the Van Gogh Museum is absolutely world-class.
Exactly. Amsterdam really is, I think, a perfect introduction to the country's, soul. The guide points out how the city balances that historical weight with, just everyday life and enjoyment. Beyond the big museums, you've got places like the Jordan District. It's not just shops and cafes, though it has great ones. It's where you really soak up that charming city atmosphere. And Vondelpark, it's a lovely green space, but it also sort of shows the Dutch commitment to quality of life, right, in the city.
Okay, so from the capital's history, let's jump to a city that really showcases the modern side, Rotterdam.
Yeah.
The guide describes it as, a modern marvel. Totally different from other Dutch cities, mainly because, the post-WWII rebuilding let them go wild with innovative architecture and a really lively contemporary art scene.
Yeah, and what the guide makes clear is that Rotterdam isn't just modern. It's kind of a symbol of resilience. The architecture is bold, it's a statement. It's like this constant conversation between history and really radical new ideas. You've got places like the Markthal, that huge arched food hall with the amazing art inside, or the cube houses, which are just surreal. You can actually go inside one. Things like that really show off that forward-thinking design. And the Erasmus Bridge, it's more than a landmark. It's a symbol of that modern energy. Great for photos, capturing the city's vibe.
Then there's the Hague, or Den Haag. The guide paints it as having this really interesting mix, very royal, very regal, but with this surprisingly relaxed beach feel, too. Mm-hmm. It is the seat of government, after all, and where the royal family lives.
It's a fascinating contrast, isn't it? You have the Binnenhof, the political core, which feels quite serious and historic. And then the Mauritshuis nearby holding masterpieces like Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring. Incredible art. But then what often surprises people is how close you are to Scheveningen Beach, a proper seaside resort. So the insight there is how the country just seamlessly blends, serious political history with actual leisure and relaxation.
And then a place the guide calls a true hidden gem, Utrecht, often gets overlooked, apparently.
Yeah.
But it's one of the oldest cities in the Netherlands, full of medieval buildings and these canals with unique lower wharfs. The cellars built right by the water, many now turned into cafes and shops. Looks amazing. The guide says you must climb the Dom Tower for the views.
That's a brilliant example of where the guide offers something maybe less obvious. Utrecht gives you a totally different canal experience compared to Amsterdam. That main canal, the Oudegracht, with its split-level wharfs, it's perfect for eating or drinking right by the water, really distinctive. And then there's the museum Spielklok, a museum of self-playing musical instruments. It's quirky, charming, and again, it highlights that Dutch ingenuity just in a different, maybe more whimsical way.
Okay, moving beyond the big cities, the guide talks about these almost fairy tale places that really show off the unique Dutch landscape. Giethoorn, for instance, known as the Venice of the North, a village with canals instead of streets, where you get around by boat or bike. That sounds incredible.
It's a perfect example of that unique landscape and how life there is just completely tied to the water, very Dutch. And then, for sheer visual impact, there's Keukenhof Gardens near Lis, described as the world's most famous tulip garden. The guide really emphasizes it has a short season, only open March to May, roughly. But it promises this unbelievable display, like over 7 million flowers. For spots like Keukenhof or Giethoorn, the guide definitely advises booking tickets way ahead. They get incredibly busy.
Right, makes sense. And if you want that real step back in time feeling, our source points towards Zaanse Schans and Kinderdijk. These aren't just replicas, they're like living heritage sites. Functioning windmills, artisan workshops, those classic Dutch landscapes. It feels like a real connection to the country's icons and its history of ingenuity.
Absolutely. So with all these amazing places, planning the actual trip, the logistics, can seem a bit daunting, right? What does the guide suggest to streamline that? It really highlights using a reliable, comprehensive travel booking platform, almost like having a strategic partner. The surprising thing, maybe, is how one platform can take all that complexity of global travel choices and boil it down into manageable, personalized options for you.
So it's about making it easier to navigate all the options out there. The guide mentions comparing everything, flights, hotels, car rentals from lots of different providers, finding deals, maybe special offers you wouldn't find otherwise. And it stresses the convenience, booking anytime, anywhere, accessing it globally.
Exactly. The focus, as the guide sees it, is on the user experience, making the booking process smooth, easy to use, showing real-time availability, and crucially, being able to customize your searches. Filtering by budget, star rating, what amenities you want, location, that kind of thing. It means you can really tailor the trip to exactly what you want and need.
And it covers the main things you need, right? Flights worldwide, hotels everywhere, car rentals. So like an end-to-end solution, whether you fly into the big hub, Amsterdam Schiphol, or maybe smaller airports like Rotterdam, The Hague, or Eindhoven.
Yeah, it covers the booking side. But beyond that, the guide also gives some really useful practical tips for when you're actually there. Like, currency is the euro, obviously. And the best time to visit, generally, for tulips, festivals, decent weather, is April to October. Something like that.
Good to know. And the public transport, famous for being punctual, efficient. Trains, buses, trams. Our source suggests looking into an OV chip cart, that's their unified travel card, makes hopping on and off super easy. And while Dutch is the official language, apparently English is very widely spoken. That's always helpful for travelers. Oh, and you absolutely have to embrace the cycling culture. Renting a bike, the guide says, is one of the best, most authentic ways to explore.
Definitely. And what's interesting is how the guide links those practicalities to cultural immersion, especially through food. You've got to try certain things. Like a stroopwafel, that warm, syrupy waffle cookie. Delicious. Or bitterball and those savory fried meatballs, usually with mustard. Classic snack. And for the more adventurous, herring. Raw herring. The guide suggests doing it the local way, holding it by the tail.
Okay, maybe I'll work up to the herring. Perhaps after a few stroopwafels first. And for bringing things back, souvenirs. The guide suggests Dutch cheese, obviously, Gouda or Edam, wooden clogs, maybe more decorative ones, Delft-Doubly pottery, even tulip bulbs, though it warns you to check export rules. And of course, stroopwafels in those nice tins make a great gift. Wow, okay, we covered a lot today, haven't we? Really journeyed through the Netherlands in this deep dive. From Amsterdam's cultural buzz to Rotterdam's modern architecture, the Hague sort of regal vibe, Utrecht's hidden canals, plus those really unique spots like Giethoorn, Keukenhof's flowers, and the windmills at Zaanstrooski's and Kinderdijk. And we touched on practical stuff too, cycling, trying a stroopwafel.
Yeah, and if we connect all that back to the practical side, this knowledge becomes really powerful when you think about how a global travel booking platform, like the one mentioned in our source, helps you turn that interest into actual plans. It lets you compare flights, hotels, cars, find deals, book whenever suits you. It really puts you in control. Customizing your search, finding what fits your budget and style, whether you're flying it to Schiphol or somewhere else, it makes the planning manageable.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? Maybe you're already picturing yourself snacking on a bitterballen by a canal somewhere, or perhaps cycling through a charming city like Utrecht, or soaking up the quiet in a village like Giethoorn. Hopefully this deep dive has given you that foundation, the knowledge, and maybe even the tools to start planning a really amazing, smooth trip, turning that curiosity into a real, actionable adventure.